Insurance isn't one size fits all. That's why drivers have enjoyed Progressive's Name Your Price tool for years now. With the Name Your Price tool, you tell them what you want to pay, and they'll show you options that fit your budget. So whether you're picking out your first policy or just looking for something that works better for you and your family, they make it easy to see your options. Visit Progressive.com. Find a rate that works for you with the Name Your Price tool. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Price and coverage match limited by state law.
This episode is brought to you by Indeed. Stop waiting around for the perfect candidate. Instead, use Indeed sponsored jobs to find the right people with the right skills fast. It's a simple way to make sure your listing is the first candidates see. According to Indeed data, sponsored jobs have 4 times more applicants than non-sponsored jobs. So go build your dream team today with Indeed. Get a $75 sponsored job credit at Indeed.com/podcast. Terms and conditions apply.
You're gonna end up eating a steady diet of government cheese and living in a van down by the river.
Live from the basement of the YouTube headquarters, it's the Stacking Benjamin Show. I'm Joe's mom's neighbor, Doug, and smiles, everyone, because we're asking the question, is happiness really about more money or about flourishing? A new study dives into this topic, and we'll cover the findings and much more with our roundtable contributors. What is much more, you ask? Oh, I'll tell you. I'll ask all 3 of these beautiful people about today's incredibly and intricately crafted trivia question. And now, a guy who likes intricately crafting retirement portfolios, it's Joe Saul-Seon.
Hey, Stackers, is there anything more fun than playing around with the efficient frontier and making retirement portfolios? I think not. Welcome to Friday. We're super happy you're here. Sit back, relax, because we're about to have a good time talking about flourishing. Let's talk to 3 people who I think are flourishing. Across the card table from me, Mr. OG is here. You're flourishing, right?
I am, I'm doing it, yeah. Ready to go.
OG is flourishing so much, everybody, that they actually took a needle and took some of the flourishment out of him.
Yeah, I have so much extra flourishing that I had to donate it to other people. And it makes you so sleepy. I just want to take a nap.
Oh, man. Well, you got to wait an hour because you got to bring it first for our stackers, man. Come on.
It shall be brought. Don't sweat.
The woman who's flourishing in Manhattan, Paula Pant, is here. How are you?
Oh, I'm fantastic. I'm a little bit under the weather, but that, well, actually, the weather here kind of sucks. So I might actually be matched to the weather.
You have a cold that's flourishing.
Yes. The cold is flourishing. The germs, the bacteria, they are flourishing.
And in other news, for people that heard the show last week, how is the kitty doing?
So far, so good. She had her 2nd round of chemotherapy yesterday. In between her 2 chemo appointments, she actually gained a little bit of weight, which is really good.
I wish people would say that about me. Joe gained weight.
Yeah.
It's so good.
Yeah. She gained weight, which is exactly...
That is good news.
Yeah, that's very, very good news. Her various counts of various things seem to be pretty good. You know, her bilirubin is down. Her ALP is decent. So, yeah, the markers are all so far so good.
Paula's the only friend I have where we've talked about bilirubin several times.
Oh, multiple times. Oh, my goodness. Yes, bilirubin is my nemesis.
Doug and I are going to go find Billy and beat the crap out of him later.
Yeah, I thought he played third base for the Yankees.
Because Mr. Rubin is going down.
He is in trouble.
For those of you wondering what it is, bilirubin is the name of a liver enzyme. I don't know what it is in humans, but in cats, it should be, I think, under 1. I don't actually know what the proper level in cats is. I think 1 or less. But in mine, it was 5. The measure was 5.9, which is like elevated to 500 times, 600 times what it should be.
In your cats, not yours.
In my cat, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like in yours. And in my cat, it was even,
Yeah. My cat's bilirubin was 5.9, which is a very, for the veterinarians who are listening to this,
yes,
they'll understand that's a very high marker.
Paula, Doug tests his liver enzymes constantly to make sure that they're working hard enough. Just as often as you
push
can.
The envelope. It's like an engine that operates best, most efficiently right at red line. That's what I do to my liver.
Keeps them on their toes.
I think Doug's liver enzymes are called Paul Rubens, which he's played Pee Wee Herman.
Whoa! May he rest in peace.
The new guy.
And that voice that you just heard, he's flourishing out in Southern California. Last time I talked to him, he was avoiding fires and lots of people not flourishing. Ryan Doolittle's here with us. How are you, brother?
You know, when I woke up today, I looked in the mirror and I said, so that's what flourishing looks like.
Pinch me. Absolutely. Well, I wanted you on for this episode specifically because you are the host of the Happiest Retirees podcast and part of Team Westmoss. And you guys study happiness and retirement. I mean, this really for you, Ryan, should be, I think, in your wheelhouse, isn't it?
It really is. Yeah, I was really excited just to hear from you at all. But the fact that it was also relevant was pretty cool, too. It seemed like a great fit.
See, and that's another reason I like Ryan right there. Just come on, Ryan, keep it coming. I was so happy to hear from you. Yeah. And the Happiest Retirees podcast, tell everybody what you do. I mean, I guess it's in the name.
It is. Yeah. I interview happy retirees, and basically the gist of it is I ask them how they got happy. And I'm hoping people listening will take some inspiration from it. If maybe some of them are retired and think, I'm not very happy and I don't know why, they might listen to that and say, well, maybe I'll just try what they're doing. Or maybe they're about to retire and it gives them sort of like a head start.
Does anybody tell you they get happier like Doug does by testing their liver enzymes? Keeping them busy?
A lot of people tell me that if they just talk to Doug at all, their liver enzymes start getting happy.
Their bilirubin goes to 5.
Yeah.
Maybe that's what happened to Tassie, Paula, is that she talked to Doug.
You know, it was ever since I started taking part in the round table from home.
That's it.
Right?
Shame on you, Paula.
Correlation, I'm going to say is causation.
All right, we're talking about a new study that just came out about what makes people flourish. We're going to get to that next. First, we have a couple sponsors that make this engine go, so you don't have to pay a dime for any of this goodness. We're going to hear from them. And then Ryan, Paula, OG, Doug, and I diving into what actually makes people flourish, and is more money part of it. You may not know that when we started Stacking Benjamins, it was a blog. And even then, just the startup cost, I remember thinking, is this the right thing? And what if I write things and nobody comes, right? Well, luckily, that didn't end up happening. But starting something new isn't just hard. It's terrifying. There's so much work. You're not sure whether it's going to work out. You're not sure if anybody's going to read it. And then we change it to a podcast. Is anybody actually going to listen, right? What if nobody wants all the stuff that we have? Well, had I used Shopify, it would have been even easier because with their expertise, their helpful tools, and their easy to use platform, that's something that would have made Stacking Benjamins more effective much, much more quickly. Shopify is the commerce platform behind millions of businesses around the world and 10% of all e-commerce in the U.S. Names you've heard of like Heinz and Mattel, Shopify, Gymshark, Aviator Nation, Allbirds, also all Shopify. Get started with your own design studio with hundreds of ready-to-use templates. Shopify helps you build a beautiful online store that matches your brand style. And best yet, Shopify is your commerce expert with world-class expertise in everything from managing inventory to international shipping to processing returns and beyond. And did I mention that iconic purple Shop Pay button? It's used by millions of businesses around the world. It's why Shopify has the best converting checkout on the planet. It also helps boost conversions, meaning less carts going abandoned and more sales for you. So you're stacking Benjamins much more quickly. Time to turn those what ifs into with Shopify today. Sign up for your $1 per month trial today at shopify.com/SB. Go to shopify.com/SB. That's shopify.com/SB. Dell PCs with Intel Inside are built for the moments you plan and the ones you don't. They're for those all-night study sessions, the moment you're working from a cafe and realize every outlet's taken, the times you're deep in your flow and can't be interrupted by an auto update. That's why Dell builds tech that adapts to you. Built with long-lasting batteries so you're not scrambling for an outlet, and built-in intelligence that makes updates around your schedule, not in the middle of it. Find technology built for the way you work at Dell.com/Dell PCs. Built for you. The inspiration for this discussion comes from a place that we found called The Conversation. And actually, it's funny, as I read through this study, I realized I've seen past studies that this group has done, and I've also read several places about past studies, because in the past, what this study has shown is that people historically have had kind of a U shape when it comes to flourishing. In other words, people when they're young tend to flourish. They tend to be frustrated in their 30s, more frustrated in their 40s as they're juggling so much stuff and they feel like they're not flourishing. They're swimming through, the middle of their career. What do they call it? The messy middle, right? They're there. And then as they get older, they flourish again. Now, that doesn't seem to be the case, Paula. When we're reading through this, it looks like now young people really not flourishing as much as they have in the past.
Yeah, I think that they say happiness is expectations minus reality. And I think that as expectations have increased, the level of disappointment also has correspondingly increased. For a lot of people, it used to be the case that just getting a job, having shelter, food, clothing, that level of stability would have been enough to make you happy. But now I think there's much more of a comparison game. And that feeling that a lot of young people have that they are relatively being left behind, even though in absolute terms their life might be still solid, can lead to a lot of disappointment.
So you're saying that because I have this device in my hand where I can FOMO over what everybody else is doing. By the way, a device in my hand, not hooked up to anything, where I can watch miraculously videos that are beamed into me in a way that they've never been able to be beamed to me before. I'm learning that I suck versus everybody else. That's what you're saying?
Well, I don't want to cast all the blame on social media
Sure.
or on the internet. I think it's easy to do and it's a convenient scapegoat. I think that is one of a multitude of factors.
Yeah. Oh, gee, did it surprise you that young people appear to be not really flourishing now?
No, I mean, obviously there's a lot of outside factors. COVID obviously messed up a lot of stuff, right? Education, in-person learning, social stuff, that was just a disaster for people in different times of their lives. My kids were, I think, 8th grade and 6th grade when COVID happened, or maybe 7th and 5th perhaps. But, switching to virtual learning and not being around their friends and, all of that has had an effect. And then there's also obviously the financial impacts of different things, whether it's just harder to get a job or, like Paula said, maybe the income isn't exactly what you thought it was going to be. And you see some social media stuff or whatever the case may be. I even caught myself today doing it. And I think some of it has to do with appreciation for hard work. It seems like sometimes we don't give enough credit to the effort given when people do stuff. And I just literally did it today. And I feel awful, like having thought about it in the last, 5 hours since we recorded earlier. I said, you guys remember me saying this, we were talking about kids graduating. And I said on the podcast, congratulations for doing the thing largely everyone expected you would do about graduating high school. And I know I've said that in jest to my kid. And I know in some point that's funny. Ha ha ha. Yeah, I graduated high school. Everybody does that. But I also recognize that was a lot of work. It's harder to go to school today than it was when I was in school. I didn't have the challenges of, like, I could press the easy button and have ChatGPT give me the answer, or do photo math on my phone where I just take a picture of a math problem and it solves it. It was a different way of doing it. I didn't have the stress of social media, like Paula said. So I think we do ourselves and do people around us a little bit of a disservice when it's just some of the language we use that maybe diminishes something that was, a pretty good accomplishment. Like, these graduates, whether high school or otherwise, worked hard. That's all they know right now. They don't know, bricklaying yet. That's also hard work, but this is an accomplishment. And we should spend more time, I think, praising people for successes as opposed to spending more time, going, well,
how come you can't be better?
That's close.
Yeah.
When I play golf with Doug, it's like, I'm like, dude, 8's a good score, bro. That's pretty good, man.
Everybody loves a snowman.
Yes, snow. It's like Olaf. Put another Olaf on your card. It's so exciting. You broke 120, Doug. High five.
How did this go from talking about flourishing to talk about hazing, making sure Doug doesn't flourish?
No, that's not hazing. It's the exact opposite of it. What I'm trying to do.
Yeah.
Build people up around you, right?
Build them up. Bad golf scores are good too. I want to stick with you for just a second because you've got your oldest, OG, who's right on the end of this at 18 years old. Are you seeing him really struggle with the transition from, he's just finishing high school and getting ready to go into college?
Yeah, we're not at that spot yet. I mean, there's still so much of the final wrap up of everything going. He hasn't been in school for 2.5 weeks. And I know he did say, I don't know, a few days ago, like, I'm kind of bored. I need some structure. Like I, as much as I hate getting up at 8:00 in the morning, that does provide some, I just can't always get up at noon.
That's cool when he says that,
a little self-awareness, I recognize, but it's also, it's like summer break, right? There's no, until he starts college, it's just another rotation of the seasons, right? It's like I finished class. Now I get summer break. Now we start class again. But this time he's going to start class 4 hours away on his own in a different town with all new people,
having to decide to go to class, to wake up, to do the thing.
Mommy and daddy not there. Yeah.
Nobody's there. Right. Ryan, I wanted to save your initial contribution for the other side of this because it's what you do on the podcast. So we got this straight line from 18 to 40, and then between 40 and 50, this jump, 50 to 60 a jump, 60 to 70 a jump. People 80 and older report that they are flourishing the most. Why do you think that is? Why, as we get older, do we find that we're really feeling more joyful every day we get out of bed?
It reminds me, I interviewed a guy who runs a horse retirement stable, for lack of a better word. It's a big horse retirement community of race horses that used to be, successful horses.
I used to be something horses.
Is there a glue factory right next door and this guy's just finding multiple revenue streams?
His last name was Elmers, so I'm not sure. No.
No correlation.
He said something that really, I found, it made me happier just hearing it. He said, man, being old is awesome. I love being old. I like it so much better than being young because for example, if someone invites me to something and I don't really like them or I don't want to go, I just say no. And they go, well, he's old, whatever. They're not offended. So I think there is there's a sense of freedom of being older. There's obviously a lot more to it. You might be more financially independent and a list of other things, but I think there is a sense of freedom. And when you're younger, you're thinking, I don't know who I am. I don't know how I'm going to get to be who I want to be, all of that.
Is part of it too, Ryan. I'm thinking about when I saw the Rolling Stones and Keith Richards came up to the microphone and he's like, I'm so happy to see everybody here, Jacksonville. He goes, heck, I'm just happy to see anybody here. Like the way Keith Richards looks like.
Yeah, I know this is a little bit of the flip side of what you're asking me, but I'm less surprised about young people being unhappy now because Wes and I were just talking and he found some research from a study by the Federal Reserve that said that because of all these financial hardships that especially millennials have been through, like the great financial crisis. And I mean, they've had more of a concentrated amount of like bad things happen, that some of them are more scared to open a credit card than they are of dying. And
Wow.
I never had that thought. I'm not really that surprised by it now as much as I would have been in the past.
That's funny, Paula. We talked to Dr. Erica Rasher from Beyond Finance on Monday about psychology and this idea of millennials, especially to Ryan's point, just growing up at this time when, good people losing their houses, smart people losing their houses, smart people declaring bankruptcy, just some of that horror story of 2007, 2008, when you're coming right out of college, that could weigh on you.
That was me. I was fresh out of college right at the Great Recession. So I'm a millennial. Fresh out of college right at the Great Sorry?
He said scoreboard.
What a jerk.
I'm a millennial.
Millennial now is synonymous with old. Like, you got to be Gen Z.
Screw you, Paula.
Are you a geriatric millennial? Isn't that the pejorative term?
Yeah. I'm not in the geriatric category, but I'm the elder millennial.
Oh, okay.
You've got the geriatric band, and underneath that, you've got the elder millennial band.
You got to be kidding me.
Yeah, seriously.
Gather round, children.
These goddamn kids making shit up all the time.
And then bridging the gap in between millennial and Gen X, there's I'd say about a 4-year window of people who are right at that transition, who are the Oregon Trail generation. They're technically young Gen X, but they're close enough to millennial that they refer to themselves as Oregon Trail. So yeah, there's a lot of differentiation right around the turning point of these generations.
What's your point, Paula?
Which I think goes to show how different life experience can be just by a factor of a couple of years.
Yeah, just a couple of years. Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
When I graduated, I would be that younger Gen X, Paula. And I remember at my college graduation, the valedictorian, who, by the way, was not me, said that she said something like, in a few years, this undergraduate degree won't be worth what it is. And I remember like, I was in such a good mood because Fonzie was our speaker.
Henry Winkler, really?
Really?
Yeah. He gave the inspirational address.
That'd be fabulous.
Wow.
It was pretty cool. Yeah. I gave him an A.
Oh, God.
Oh, we just got set up.
And isn't that your blood type?
Oh my God. And we thought Len Benzo was bad with those. Chris, I want to say hi to everybody who's hanging out with us on YouTube. Chris, who is an upcoming guest on the Stacking Adventures podcast, is joining us from Belize, which is great. Andrea is in Santiago, Chile. Like we are all over the place today. Dan says, yeah, I can't compete with any of those. I'm in Baltimore. Dan, Baltimore's pretty exotic as well. And then Andrea says she's rooting for Paula's cat.
Aw, thank you, Andrea.
Leonidas, who I can't not call Leonidas because they're the town of Michigan. Hello from a rare sunny Western Pennsylvania today. So great to see all of you hanging out with us live on YouTube. We generally record on Thursday afternoons. Come and join us.
Wednesday.
Let's
Normally
dive in,
Wednesday.
guys. What's that?
Normally Wednesdays.
Oh, Wednesday. Sorry, today. Normally Wednesday. You're right.
Oh, can I finish my thought on my counterintuitive thought on millennials?
Bring it.
A lot of people say that, yeah, you graduated college right into the Great Recession. That's a sucky time to be a human. I actually have the opposite perspective because by virtue of being in your early 20s or even mid 20s in 2008, like right when the market was at its bottom, our early investor life was like capturing that market bottom. And granted, in terms of like raw dollars, we didn't have a whole lot because we were at the beginning of our careers. But still, because we were in college, we never invested during those high heady years and then watched our portfolios drop. We got to come in right at 2008, 2009 and start there. And so we just saw an 11-year bull run as the first 11 years of our investing history. So I actually think being a millennial was hugely like fortuitous in terms of growing a portfolio, growing your net worth.
But doesn't that rely on how much financial education you had? Like if you are surrounded by people who get that,
Yeah.
then you're right. It frankly was a phenomenal time. It was a
Right.
fantastic time. Man, if you started then, like right now is kind of a bad time because this year, the first half of this year, that 6-month downturn might've been, oh gee, have we seen a 6-month downturn since then? Like 6 months of down? We generally had like knife down and then
2022,
come back. Yeah, but wasn't that like knife down and then
2012.
up and then just kind of malaise? No?
No, 2022 is down
Yeah,
like all year.
sure.
2018 was down all year. 12 was down from August to the end of the year.
August to the end. Maybe I blocked it out.
Yeah. But honestly, yeah, what Paul is saying is if you, even if you didn't have any education and just went like, I don't know, 401k, I guess, like whatever, like you said, you didn't have to plan for it or you just got lucky. And
Yeah.
part of investing is just pure luck and, and timing, right? It's just like you're lucky that you started investing in March of 2009. There's a bunch of people who were unlucky that retired on January of 2008.
Yeah,
You know.
exactly.
Just a random separation of a few years.
Yeah, I totally agree. So yeah, I think millennials, especially elder millennials, had it really good. I think we are probably one of the luckiest generations in that regard.
Paula, did you have a lot of financial education at that point? Or
No, mine was all from blogs. It was from reading the Free
Oh.
Financial Advisor. It
Oh,
was
come on.
Nice.
Talk about why I love Ryan so much now, why I love Paula. For people that don't know, that was OG in my first blog. Yeah, way back in the day. All right, let's move on. Flourishing reflects job status. I want to start here because OG, retired people show that they're flourishing the most. Self-employed people are second. Employed by someone else is third. Student is fourth. Homemaker is fifth. unemployed and looking for a job is last. Anything surprising there to you?
I don't think there's anything surprising. No, I mean, obviously there's pros and cons about each one of those, but as I read through this, I just looked at the pictures. God, there's so many words. I just looked at the pretty pictures and I was drawn by that. That attracted my attention because I was like, okay, retiree, self-employed, that makes a ton of sense to me because sure, if you're financially independent, well, assuming that you're retired and you're financially independent, I guess that might be two separate things, but it makes sense that you're at that stage of your life, right? You're like, okay, we're on to the next thing. Like, I feel pretty good. The kids are gone. I've raised a couple good humans. Like, I'm in the grandkid stage where I can send them back. Like that's a fun time. And being an entrepreneur, I don't know. I don't know why anybody would not do it from my perspective, because while there's a lot of stress that goes with it, there's so much freedom and specifically around time. And then as your business does better, money freedom, where it's like you can design whatever sort of life you want to design. And to me, that's kind of the ultimate freedom perspective is, do I get to do what I want to do when I want to do it? And if I can control most of those things, then I feel pretty good.
Well, Ryan, does retire being at the top of this, does that correlate, you think, with financial independence, or like OG says, the flexibility that I don't have to show up at work every day?
I think it's what OG said about doing whatever you want to do whenever you want to do it. That's what we have found has been really the new definition of retirement, at least for the happy retirees. What people always associate retirement with is sitting in the lazy boy. And, I'm not going to go to work, so I'm automatically happy. And it's really not about not doing anything. It's about not doing the things you don't like doing, which is often like going to the office and doing whatever your boss wanted you to do. So that part is really, really on point for everything that I've learned.
But how much does the money play into it? Just it gives you the ability to do that, to wake up every day and do whatever the hell you want to?
Yeah, from what we found, the money's important, obviously, but only to get you to where you can.
It's the fuel.
Yeah, exactly. There's some, what is that, Maslow's hierarchy?
Sure, yeah.
If you don't have food, you can't like enjoy reading. It's like whatever. Yeah. So you need the money, but it's not really the end all.
Right. If Doug doesn't have the drinks, he can't test the liver, which makes him happy.
Exactly. Yeah.
Why do I feel like this is an intervention for me?
Doug, there's a reason we called you here today. Paula, I want to talk to you about something else that's on here. If you talk to a lot of self-employed people, or you just look at this from afar, you're like, man, being self-employed, being the boss, that's somebody who's stressed out all the time. Like, this is just, you're the backstop. You employ X number of people that afford anything.
Yeah.
Self-employed, though, tracks happier than the safety of working in a business for somebody else.
Yeah. That makes complete sense to me. There's that expression, you'll work 80 hours in order to not work 40.
Avoid.
Yeah.
Avoid 40 hours for somebody else, right?
Yeah. You'll work 80 hours for yourself in order to not work 40 for someone else. And that's totally true. There's research that shows that the three qualities that often correlate with workplace happiness are autonomy, mastery, and purpose. And I think that when you yourself are the boss, when you're calling the shots, when it's your company and your project, you have all three of those. You have autonomy, you have the potential to develop mastery, and there's typically a purpose behind why you're doing it.
Yeah. Why is, OG, do you think, homemaker at the bottom of this one? Is it a sense of, I don't know, guilt that you're not bringing in the paycheck, somebody else is? Is it the fact that you're the backstop for the family, to be taking everybody, you're managing the house? Is it underappreciation? Like, why do you think homemaker's so far down on this?
Yeah, I mean, obviously I don't know, because that's not a role that I have, but the first thing that I thought was underappreciation. That would be my first guess. I can't prove that, but I think a lot of it has to do, anything has to do with roles and responsibilities and making sure that everybody's on the same page. I certainly can't speak for my wife on how she feels about this, but when she decided to stay at home with the kids, we set out a bunch of rules, like who's going to be doing this and who's not going to be doing this. And so she doesn't do some stuff and I don't do a bunch of stuff. Now, on occasion, she'll say, hey, is there any chance, I know you're busy, can you go do this thing for me? And it's, yeah, of course, if I can figure it out, I will, just like she would. But I don't know where she would rank on this, honestly. I don't know where she would want to put herself.
Yeah, Ryan or Paula, you guys have any other insight into why homemaker be so low here?
My hypothesis is if a person were to dig deeper into that, there's probably a distinction between people who aspired to be homemakers, like that was what they really wanted to do, versus people who kind of felt like they were forced into it based on circumstance. I had friends in college, even when we were 18, 19 years old, who were like, my goal in life, I want to be a stay at home mom. I think they would be very happy, or are likely to be happy in that role. Whereas I know a few other people who are like, I didn't really want to, but we took a look at what the cost of daycare looked like, and we just took a look at the numbers, and it didn't make sense.
Taking one for the team.
Yeah. So they were like, even though I didn't want to, I felt like I didn't have financially, I just felt like I didn't have any other choice because I just couldn't afford the cost of childcare and getting a house cleaner and all of that.
Yeah, maybe putting your goals on the bottom shelf for the good of everybody else. Leonidas was back on when we were talking about millennials, agrees with Paula, got my first house at the bottom of the housing crisis and had a 10-year bull run, #winning. It was. I mean, I feel like that's part of a growth mentality too, right? It's like, okay, it's either the worst of times or the best of times. Doug?
Paula got me thinking about this. People who maybe don't find satisfaction of that being a homemaker, it's because they're looking externally for validation. And generally, Western society is not putting a lot of reward and value and hip hip hooray on homemakers. We don't often completely lift them up and say what an incredibly valuable thing you're doing, raising children and managing the home, which is like a business, right? Managing the home is like a business. There's a huge value there, but generally you don't see a lot of that reinforced in social media. And
your brother is the homemaker in his family, right?
He was for the whole time his kids were growing up and until recently. And I mean, they just kind of threw traditional rules out the window, and it was great.
Was he flourishing, do you think, or not?
Let's move on to the trivia, Joe.
That's a whole different thing.
That's a whole different thing.
Back to Leonidas. I'm gonna stumble on that word over and over and over. I'm a stay-at-home mom, and so far it's my favorite job. She says, raising our son's exactly what I want to do. Speaking of moving on to the trivia, it is that time, and at the halfway point of the Stacky Benjamins show, if you're new here, is where we have this amazing Friday competition between our three frequent contributors, Paula, OG, and Jesse. And Ryan, you're playing for Team Jesse today, which means we got some good news for you and some bad news. Which one of those would you like first?
I'll take the bad news.
Well, the bad news is you're not winning. You are tied for second, which means you're tied for last. So,
hey, I'm used to that position, so it's fine.
OG has 6. You and Jesse have 4.5, and Paula has 4.5. So because Team Jesse beat Team Paula last year, that means OG will guess first, you will guess second, Ryan, and Paula will guess last. All right? So that's the way we play it. And for each of these, of course, we need a question, and that's where Doug comes back. Doug, what do you got, man?
Hey there, stackers. I'm Joe's mom's neighbor, Doug. And get ready to rev those brain engines because here comes today's trivia question. I know we've been talking about flourishing for these last 25 minutes, but you want to flourish? I mean, do you really want to flourish? Well, let creepy old Uncle Doug make it simple for you. How would an extra 2.5 mil in your pocket feel, huh? Would that make you smile? I said, would that make you smile?
Yes.
There we go. Okay. Well, that could be you if you just got extra good at turning left, because that's how much money an Indy 500 winner takes home if they win. And today's date back in 1911 is the anniversary of the first running of this iconic Midwestern race. And while you may think running means they ran down the track, I'm told they actually used cars. #innovation. Hey, Ray Haroon won the inaugural event, pocketing a whopping $14,000 back then. It's about $450,000 today. But here's today's fun question. How long did that first race take? I love the look on our contributors' faces when I come up with the question. Just total blank terror. I'll be back right after I see how long it takes me to get the garbage to the curb. Joe's mom says it's for research purposes. Pay attention to science, kids.
All right. The Indy 500 run last weekend. if we weren't recording ahead of time, we would have told you who won, but we have no idea. OG, you're first race way back in 1911. How long did the Indy 500-mile race take?
I'm somewhat of a fan of the Indy 500, having attended 2 of them. I feel like this is something I should know. It seems like it's written down somewhere. It's on a placard somewhere. Here was the running. It took Bob this many days to complete it.
Outside the race or something.
Some sort of
under the stands.
Yeah. Or came up in conversation. I'm going to say that the first one, let's see. So I was like, man, I hope he asks how fast is the fastest lap ever. Because I'm pretty sure I know that to like the miles per hour in the thousands.
Well,
but
Doug, I'm glad we said no to that one.
Yeah. We talked about that.
Yeah. No, I felt pretty good about that one. Okay. So 1911, those are the facts. The Indy 500, they're racing Model Ts, going 19 miles an hour. So I'm going to say that they really exceeded the speed of sound here. They were blowing people away. They were going 50 some odd miles an hour, maybe 75, maybe 100. Split the difference. I'm going to say it took 5 hours to do it.
5 hours. Ryan, what do you want to do with that? What was your thought? 5 hours high or low?
I think that's a little low. I use so actually people don't know this, but indies are a unit of measurement. So it took 500 indies to finish the race. So for that's
we got to convert that to indies to hours. What's the conversion on that? Do you got your conversion calculator?
Yeah. Let me see. I always go to metric and then I go back to indies. And then so hours I'd say it took 7.9 hours.
7.9 hours. What would that be? 7 hours and 55 minutes? Would that be 54 minutes?
7
hours
54.
and
54 minutes.
7 hours and 54
Thank
minutes.
you. I was going to say that. Thank you, Paula.
We beat him to it. Yeah. All right, Paula, you got 7 hours and 54 minutes and 5 hours.
I'm going to take the under. So I will go.
You think they went faster?
Let's not help her with the logic.
I'm not questioning. I didn't mean to be questioning. I'm just
sounded like a question mark if I ever heard one.
That just seems like a very long time. Yeah, I'll take the under. Why not? Okay, so OG's guess was 5 hours. So I'll go 4 hours and 59 minutes and 59 seconds.
There it is. She caps him off at the knees. That's the way the game is played. Who's right? We're going to find out in just a minute. We'll be right back.
You're listening to this podcast, so I know you've got a curious mind. Here's a helpful fact you may not know yet. Drivers who switch and save with Progressive save over $900 on average. Pop over to Progressive.com, answer some questions, and you'll get a quick quote with discounts that are easy to come by. In fact, 99% of their auto customers earn at least one discount. Visit Progressive.com and see if you can enjoy a little cash back. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. National average 12-month savings of $946 by new customers surveyed who saved with Progressive between June 2024 and May 2025. Potential savings will vary.
You didn't start a business just to keep the lights on. You're here to sell more today than yesterday. You're here to win. Lucky for you, Shopify built the best converting checkout on the planet. Like the just one tapping, ridiculously fast acting, sky-high sales stacking, champion of checkouts. That's the good stuff right there. So if your business is in it to win it, win with Shopify. Start your free trial today at shopify.com/win.
Did you know Fast Growing Trees is America's largest and most trusted online nursery with thousands of trees and plants and over 2 million happy customers? Whether you're planting fruit trees, adding privacy, brightening things up with flowers, or bringing in houseplants, Fast Growing Trees has it all. Even better, they can help you find options that are right for your climate, your space, and lifestyle. Click Order Grow. Every plant arrives healthy with the Alive and Thrive guarantee straight to your door. So if you're ready to get planting, this is the moment. Right now, they have great deals on spring planting essentials, up to half off on select plants. And listeners to our show get 20% off their first purchase when using the code WWO at checkout. That's an additional 20% off. Better plants and better growing at fastgrowingtrees.com using the code WWO at checkout. Fastgrowingtrees.com, code WWO. Now's the perfect time to plant. Let's grow together. Use WWO to save today. Offer is valid for a limited time. Terms and conditions apply. Go to growingfasttrees.com for details.
All right, OG, you started off with 5 hours, which seemed really good until Paula took away half of your win. How you feeling?
Yeah, I just said 100 miles an hour. I don't know that that's right. It might be like 50 miles an hour.
So you think it might have taken longer?
Yeah. I think it's longer than 5.
Wow.
I was trying to pick a number that somebody initially would think is grossly too high. And I got right with half of them. Half of them got it.
You wanted us all to pick under that.
Yeah, I did. Like, oh my God, 5 hours. 85 hours is like 2 hours and 10 minutes now.
Well, you didn't take the bait, Ryan. You feeling pretty good after OG mea culpa there?
I do, because it's my understanding Jesse gets really angry when people screw up his score.
You know, Jesse Kramer's angry guy. How would that guy, could you imagine that guy angry? I can't.
No.
Yeah. So Paula, 4 hours and 59 minutes, and OG thinks he ran it too quickly. So yours will be even quicker. You feeling good?
Yeah, you know what? I'm not feeling good about this answer, actually. But
well, Paula, you trusted your gut and it hasn't worked for 10 years in a row. Like, all right, Doug, who is going to win this Indy 500 flavored trivia today?
1 second, Joe. I've got a lot of math to do.
You don't have to do that. No one likes it.
No,
It's
only
really
you don't like
stupid.
it.
One
And I
person
do it
doesn't
because
like
you
it.
don't like it.
One person was 1 hour, 11 minutes, and 19 seconds too high. One guy was 1 hour, 19 minutes, and 12 seconds too high. Just freaking say the answer. We can do the math ourselves.
Andrea's wondering, how many numbers can OG use in a single sentence?
yeah.
Back when you were guessing.
It's just...
It's so good.
Okay, here we go.
You done?
The calculus has been completed.
Can we
and
catch
we're ready
up
to
now?
roll.
Okay, thanks.
Hey there, stackers. I'm super fast garbage collector and guy who now smells like a week-old litter box left out in the sun, Joe's mom's neighbor, Doug. While the first running of the Indy 500 didn't take a week, it sure took a lot longer than races today. While current races are completed in around 3 hours, so let's call it 180 minutes, right? That 1911 race took 372 minutes less than what Ryan guessed. 103 less than what Paula, more than what Paula guessed, and 102 more than what Jerkface guessed, because the correct answer is 402 minutes and some change, making OG our winner.
Wow.
So 402 minutes, 6 hours and
42 minutes. 6 hours and 42 minutes.
6 hours and 42 minutes.
Hold on. What did Ryan guess?
Yeah, Ryan was closer.
Wait. I was 7 hours and...
So he was an hour and 10 minutes. So he's...
Ryan won.
Ryan's off by 70 minutes.
God, pay attention. Good job, Ryan.
The look on Doug's face.
One of us is off by an hour and 40 minutes. There, math genius. And one of us is off by an hour and 10 minutes.
I was trying to convert all of it to minutes, and you got it. I got.
Yeah.
Doug, have you been testing your liver already today?
Yeah.
I'm glad that this has backfired in a spectacular fashion.
Yeah, this
on
is
a public display.
A great day for OG.
Yes.
Congratulations, Ryan. Nice
Good job,
work.
Ryan.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
I mean, even though the judges officially gave me the point, I will cede it to you.
OG's still a jerk
Could
face.
you imagine sitting out there for 6 hours, OG, having been there?
I have been there for 6 hours. It's called a rain delay.
Oh, really?
Oh.
Yeah. I went to the Brickyard 400 twice, and just being in that, which is the NASCAR equivalent race that they run, it's shorter, obviously, the 400. But that's just a cool place to be.
Yeah, it's a good atmosphere.
Whether you like racing or not, just being in the stands with all these people at this iconic racetrack, pretty neat place to be. I'd love to go to the Indy 500. It would be a lot of fun. Let's get back into something else that I've really been enjoying, which is what makes people flourish, and this recent study that was done on the topic. I want to talk about this idea, Ryan, of religious attendance. People that take part in religious ceremonies, I guess we'll call it, more than once a week are the happiest. If they go once a week, they are happy, but not as happy. 1 to 3 times a month, less happy. If they never go, they're way unhappier. Did that surprise you?
No, it didn't, because for Wes's last book, it was called What the Happiest Retirees Know. And
that's funny. I have it right here in front of me.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
That's great. I'll send you a check later. But we interviewed about 2,000 retirees and found that they were 1.5 times more likely to be happy if they attend church once per week. And attending twice per year seemed to be like the bare minimum of being somewhat happy. Who knows what exactly that says about it? It didn't really get specific about religions. It was just like that thing, that community support, which is kind of what the article was saying too.
Well, and that also is interesting, Paula, because we're going to do a week about retirement and accumulation planning. And as we're setting this up, we're going to be interviewing the creators of a documentary that came out a couple of years ago called Join or Die, which is a documentary about how if we belong to some group that's bigger than us, maybe not religious, maybe it's the Kiwanis, the Rotary Club, but it could be your church, that you are more likely to feel happiness. Do you think it's the act of joining, or do you think there's even something more with the fact that we're in a worship service?
I think with religion, it's two things. Part of it is a belief in a higher power. And I think that belief can have a lot of positive effects in your life. And then in addition to that, there's also the community element. There's a major, major community element when it comes to church or temple or synagogue or any kind of religious ceremony. And so I think it's the combination of the two.
Oh, gee, were you surprised at all by this?
No, not in the least bit. Not on the religious / group type of thing. I mean, it provides grounding and hope, and regardless of what religion it is, they all have a similar flow to the thing, which is do some good stuff. Don't be a jackass. People are looking out for you. It just provides a little bit of like, it's okay.
I want to hear that sermon, by the way. The don't be a jackass.
Don't be a jackass.
Very blunt minister.
Yeah, I think it's also, I don't have stats on this, but it seems like it's also just like a sense of meditation. It's an hour where you can't look at your phone or think about the Indy 500. I guess you could think about the Indy 500, but you couldn't actually watch it.
Is the word think about, Ryan, or gloat? Would the word be gloat? About how
you don't think about more? Winning. Some say that was a better win than the person who won the Indy 500.
Winning on the Stacky Benjamin show sure beats doing the real thing. Paula, were you going to say something?
Oh, I was going to say, if you think you can't look at your phone in church, you've never watched The Simpsons.
Well, Paula, let's stick with you because we hear people say women are flourishing less, men are flourishing less. And certainly there are different ways where we can say this segment of the population is really struggling in this area more than others. But when it comes to this study, just not money, but this overall happiness, men and women almost exactly even. Did that surprise you?
Yeah, no, it doesn't. It doesn't surprise me at all because I think both men and women are dealing with struggles, and they might be different types of struggles, but they're like both dealing with struggles. We live in this era of outrage media where there's a huge industry of people who get paid to make us angry and who get paid to make us tribalistic. And I think that outrage media has created this narrative that we now live in this era of men versus women, when in fact, the reality is it's not men versus women. It's us together dealing with the fact that we live in a cold, inhospitable universe in which death is the final outcome. It is us together dealing with that. But we can forget that because there are a lot of people who get paid to make us tribal.
Well, that sounds way better, Paula.
Wow, Paula's not getting invited on the Happiness Podcast anytime soon.
That sounds way better than being angry at girls. Wait, we're all in it together, and we all end up in this cold, lifeless location that we're barely trying to survive.
You just got done reading Camus, didn't you? There's no point.
I know. Just sucks.
Life's a joke.
You can see Paula's religious optimism right there, going back to the religious part. Ryan, does that change as people get older, though? Do you find women or men are happier in their retirement years?
We didn't necessarily find a discrepancy between men and women.
So just like in this study, men, women...
We didn't delve so much into the gender of it, so it's really hard for me to say. I mean, as far as health, women's health seemed to last longer. There was one interesting aspect we had found. In fact, Wes interviewed a neuroscientist who studied primates. He found that male primates struggled to keep social, like they sort of gave up on socializing as they got older.
Really?
And the women primates seemed to do it much easier and better. And that, at least to my eye, that correlates to humans. Uh,
This is like a research study on Doug.
Or Doug, are you the one of those guys that's like, yeah, my friends are whoever my wife's friends are type of thing? Or
Yeah, I'm not very, you can tell I'm an introvert. I'm not very social. So I just kind of glom onto, yeah.
But you're saying men tend to isolate as they get older.
yeah, I don't know exactly why, but yeah, they tend to like
You'll see.
atrophy. That okay. That muscle almost atrophies or something. They stop trying.
Planned obsolescence.
And so that leads to problems in retirement because now, especially with retirements lasting longer nowadays, like say you've got 20 years without friends, that's a problem. Whereas in the past, maybe your retirement was so much shorter, you might be able to get away with it.
It is a sad statistic that I heard maybe back in January is the highest rate of suicide is among men over age 70.
Oh, wow.
So the isolation thing, very, very, very much problematic. Speaking of problematic, childhood events, they talk about determine whether you are going to flourish or not. On the upside, if you had excellent health as a child, you flourished. More often, if you were, in my case, dragged to religious services at age 12, you have a good relationship with your mother, very good health. And then as you went down, things get worse. If your parents were divorced, then if you felt your family had a hard time financially, it was even worse. If your parents were single, your parents died, fair health, felt like an outsider near the bottom, and of course, poor health and experienced abuse. I don't think, Paul, any of this surprises you, that your happiness kind of can stem from a sort of, I guess, PTSD from childhood.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Those are the most impressionable years.
Did anything about that surprise you, OG?
No. I'll tell you the one thing. I don't know if you're going to get to it. So tell me you're going to get to it. The thing I was most surprised by, or I found interesting, I don't know, surprise, was the areas of the world. Because they did a
That's
study
where I want to
across,
go
like,
next. Yeah.
22 different areas, I think is what it said, right? Different demographics.
Yeah.
And it was just mind-boggling. So I'll do the transition. But it was really interesting in what we would think in very Western contemporary culture of, gross excess. We would think like, oh, based on everything else, we've got it great, but we must be the cat's meow of where everything is. It's like, nope, Indonesia, Thailand, Mexico, Morocco. And you're going, wait, what? Those places don't have any of the stuff that we do. Ding, 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 ding.
Yeah.
Weird.
That was why I wanted to end here on this point, OG, for that very reason, because if there was anything that proves that flourishing isn't just about the money.
Yeah, it's just not it's not money at all.
It is this. Having gone to Indonesia, those people are not what I would say flourishing.
Yeah, they don't have the same money that you do.
That was an incredibly, incredibly poor country. Ryan, did this surprise you that Indonesia was on top, Mexico second, Philippines number 3?
It surprised me a little, not because I think you have to be wealthy, but I thought they might be lower. I mean, there's a plateau effect, certainly, where you, like we were talking about earlier, you make a little bit, or, the money helps you get to where you need to go. So I wasn't sure they would have enough to get there, but it sounds like they do. And maybe that figure's lower than I thought it was.
Yeah, Paula?
What strikes me about this is that those are all emerging markets, right? Emerging economies. And so there's a lot of, we were talking earlier about hope, right? There's a lot of the younger generation is doing better than their parents, and the parents are doing better than their grandparents. And so you're seeing a lot of progress, you're seeing a lot of hope. Every successive generation does better than the previous generation. I think that when you have an economy that's emerging, and things are constantly getting better, and you know that the next generation is probably going to have it even better, which is what every parent wants for their kid. I think that combined with like strong community ties can result in a lot of happiness, because it strikes me that there are plenty of countries where there may be strong community ties, but there's no economic hope, right? Like it strikes me that Syria and Somalia and Afghanistan are not on this list.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Despite the fact that you have very strong community and very strong family ties there as well. So I think it's that emerging economy, right? That the future will be better than the past that really makes a difference.
I don't know, Paula. I think the next White Lotus location is going to be in Afghanistan.
White Lotus, Afghanistan.
White Lotus, Kabul. Kabul used to be the Paris of the West, or of the East.
The
Sorry.
Paris of the front lines.
Yeah.
Wait, this lotus is a poppy seed, and it's being used trafficked. No,
Yeah, whole different show. Brazil, Poland on the list, by the way. We've been talking a lot about Poland. Next week's show, we're going to be talking about Poland a little bit. And Paula, you and I talked about how well the stock market's done in Poland this year as well.
Yeah.
People pretty happy there. You know what's wild is that I've seen other studies that show that people in the Nordic regions, right, are the quote happiest people on earth. And I'm not seeing any of those countries on this list. I don't know if they were included or not included. Maybe that's it. I don't know, but I'm not seeing that former research, those people showing up. United States, number 15 on this list, by the way. It's interesting. We talk about flourishing. When it comes to flourishing, OG, help us put a cap on this. What do you think flourishing has to do with finance?
Ooh, what does it have to do with finance? I mean, the more comfortable you are with your circumstances, like Paula said, in terms of hope and optimism, that's really the biggest thing. You know, I think that when it comes to making decisions about money or decisions about the future, if you can give yourself the most opportunity for choices in the future, like not locking yourself into one decision or not making the biggest mortgage purchase that you can exactly up to what the bank will allow you, so that every single day you have to exactly be on budget every single minute of every single day to afford it. Like giving yourself flexibility and choices equates to, in my opinion, flexibility, which is probably one of the biggest features or factors in being happy.
Ryan, how about for you?
Well, first of all, I was surprised that India wasn't higher on that, because a little bit of what Paula was saying, they seem like an emerging market. Maybe they're more emerged, and so maybe that's why, but they seem like they're on the way up, and like it would be that thing where you're doing better than your parents.
India down there, by the way, right around the United States, right in the same general spot.
And that's one of the big things I hear people say here is, for the first time, kids are doing worse than their parents or something, right? So that's like, not obviously that's not everyone, but that might play a big role in why we're lower on that list. So I don't know, it was really eye-opening. I was surprised by some of these countries. And like you said, the Nordic regions, maybe they weren't included because I thought they would be up there.
Yeah, I would have thought so too, that we would have seen Norway, Denmark on there. But money, how do you think money plays into this?
I think money plays into everything to some degree, but when you start looking at it as the savior is when you get into trouble. But if you just make the right choices and get to where you have, it's all about getting that flexibility. And I'm kind of saying what someone else said with that. But if you can get to where you're flexible enough to do the things that make you happy, you're in the driver's seat and you can win the Indy 500, because like that's really the purpose. But some people, like, they make money and then they're like, well, I got this dopamine rush from making money, so I guess that's what I need to do, is just keep making more money. And that doesn't really go anywhere.
And that may go back to what we talked about earlier, Paula, about self-employed being employed by somebody else. Is that flexibility Ryan's talking about? What does it mean for you? Where does money fit into it for you?
Well, I think money simply gives you choices. It gives you choices. It gives you options. And when you have choices and options about your life, you are likely to be happier, because whatever it is that you are doing or, experiencing or buying is something that you chose, right? It's something that you freely chose. And if you dislike it, then you can choose a different path. And so it gives you the ability to take control over your life rather than to be controlled by a lack of money.
And I love the fact that it's only one part. Like, you still have to choose. You know, when you were talking about coming out of the financial crisis, you can choose to have that be the weight, or you can choose that was a heck of a place to start from. You choose to work for somebody else, even if you do work for somebody, to be an entrepreneur or, be an entrepreneur. Certainly there's the childhood trauma stuff. You don't choose that. And I think that's important. But looking at joining, and this idea of the religious aspect is really, really pretty interesting. We will link to this on our show notes at stackingbenjamins.com for all of our stackers that want to take a look at this really, really wonderful study with some pretty surprising results. Let's find out, because you guys are always doing surprising stuff. So we'll have our guest of honor go last here. But OG, what do you got going on this fine post Memorial Day weekend?
Well, I'm lucky enough to have my in-laws still in town for just the last part of this 2.5-week visit. So really blessed to be able to hang out with them. I will be spending the weekend at a golf tournament. So sadly, they're going to have to hang out at my house. And
Without you there.
I'm going to miss those last few days.
I know how heartbroken you are.
But we've been fortunate enough to have them around for the last 17 days and some change. Who's counting? But, we're just beyond blessed.
Hashtag blessed.
Hashtag flourishing.
Paula, what's going on at the Afford Anything podcast?
So on the Afford Anything podcast, we have an interview with Robert Rosenkrantz. He is a billionaire who talks about how he made his money. It's really interesting because right up until when he talks about the work that he did in his 20s and early 30s, it's all like very, very, very relatable. He's telling his story and you're like, okay, yeah. Oh, yeah, that feels like my 20s. Yeah, that 20 by 25, yeah. By 35, yeah, I can relate to that. And then like post 35, it just becomes
nope.
Whoa.
He did some amazing stuff, huh?
Yeah, exactly. And so we talk about that. He strongly believes in stoicism. And so we talk about the Stoic philosophy and how that plays a role in any type of business enterprise or any type of financial enterprise, like in anything that you want to do, how Stoicism can play a role in it.
That's awesome. And that's at the Afford Anything podcast, where finer podcasts are listened to or found.
The finest.
Only the finest. Speaking of finest, Ryan, thanks a lot for hanging out with us today, man. This was fun. Thank you so much.
I had a really great time. So,
kicking our butt at the
honor
trivia.
was all mine. Yeah.
All right. So what's going on at the Happiest Retirees podcast? What's coming up?
What I actually was going to plug is I'm starting a new video series called Tryin' Ryan. It's where I go out and actually try some of these, well, we call them core pursuits. It's been like a hobby on steroids that we found that the happiest retirees need 3.6 core pursuits to be happy.
I always feel bad for that 0.6 one, by the way, the one you're kind of half-assing.
I know. So I decided to just go out and try some of these things and hopefully like by showing people that I'm doing it and oftentimes not doing it well, but having fun, they might actually be inspired by it. So the first episode, I learned how to cook Puerto Rican food from my wife.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
Wow.
That was tasty.
I got to live closer to you.
I know. Hey, you're welcome to move in if you need to. And then the second episode is going to be I'm taking tennis lessons. So like, we got to balance between like enjoying food and then burning the calories off.
It's a good 1-2 punch. That's nice.
Yes, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. You going to test your liver enzymes during this? Is that going to be a core pursuit?
Yeah.
And that's at the Happiest Retirees podcast, where, of course, also the finest podcasts are listened to, wherever you're listening to us now. All right. That's going to do it for today. Big thanks to everybody hanging out with us from all over the world on YouTube today. Thanks a lot for, just being here with us, I guess.
Just for being you.
Just for being you. Thank you for being a stacker. And as I mentioned, most of the time we're here on Wednesday. Today we're here on Thursday, making the show. Doug, you always make the show go bye-bye by telling us what we should have learned today.
Nobody can wrap up a party like me, Joe. First, take some advice from Paula when she revealed the pointlessness of life in a bleak, frozen, T.S. Eliot-like wasteland. Care to elaborate, Paula?
Sure. It's us together in this darkness in which we will soon be forgotten, and eventually the sun will turn into a red giant and explode, and everything that you've ever known will dissolve into a fiery hellscape.
I can't figure out why the U.S. is further down on the scale with great optimistic people like Paula.
Second, don't forget Captain Grumpy Pants' sermon on flourishing and not being a jackass. Hey, OG, can you summarize that for us?
Yeah, if you go to church, just listen for the sermon about don't be a jackass, and then you'll be inspired moving forward to be nice to people. I guess, I don't know. I haven't paid attention to that one yet.
But you heard about it.
I'd actually recommend to all the stackers out there, go to your religious leader and request it. Like, could you talk to us about not being a jackass? Use those exact words.
Paraphrase just a smidge. Your Honor, if you can't, I don't know what do you call them?
Your Eminency,
your Highness. If you're not allowed to use the word jackass, but I did see it on a Mountain Dew commercial, so I guess it's okay.
But the big lesson: Don't get Joe's mom stuck on finding out how fast everything is. Now she says we need to test my speed at mowing her lawn. I'm on to you, Ma. It's time to drop my El Camino engine into the tractor. Thanks to Ryan Doolittle for joining us today. You'll find Ryan happily hosting the Happiest Retirees podcast. We'll also include links in our show notes at stackingbenjamins.com. Thanks to Paula Pant for hanging out with us today. You'll find her joyously pontificating and using all the polysyllabic words on Afford Anything, available wherever you listen to finer podcasts. And finally, thanks to Jerkface OG for joining us today. Looking for good financial planning help? It was because he corrected me in the trivia thing. I'm a little bit bitter. Looking for good financial planning help? Head to stackingbenjamins.com/OG for his calendar.
Wait a minute, you're bitter because he helped you get the trivia right?
It's just the way, it was the tone of voice, really. I just needed a hug, and he punched me in the face. But yes, he was right to correct me. I was trying to convert to minutes, and I did the math wrong.
Well, you were thinking in indie units. That was the problem.
Yeah. This show is the property of SB Podcasts, LLC, copyright 2025, and is created by Joe Saul-Sehy. Joe gets help from a few of our neighborhood friends. You'll find out about our awesome team at stackingbenjamins.com, along with the show notes and how you can find us on YouTube and all the usual social media spots. Come say hello. Oh yeah, and before I go, not only should you not take advice from these nerds, don't take advice from people you don't know. This show is for entertainment purposes only. Before making any financial decisions, speak with a real financial advisor. I'm Joe's mom's neighbor, Doug, and we'll see you next time back here at the Stacking Benjamins Show.